What time is it? It's Packard Folks at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesat where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine episode of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And join me tonight from the far East Coast is the Atheist Ranger.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And join me from the ill that is Illinois is Matt, not a believer, 71.
Good evening, everybody.
Uber is having a very, very bad year because a lot of people that have been associated with the company have turned out to be some really awful people. There was that shooter in Michigan, was an Uber driver, and somebody was in a higher up who got booted out because of harassing one of the Uber drivers. And now, if you haven't heard, or you have heard and you don't know this part of the story, is the fact is that the Muslim guy in New York that ran down those bicyclists and the people on that bike path, he was also an Uber driver. Uber has confirmed at 12:15 a.m. on October 31st that the man suspected of driving a vehicle down the bike path near the World Trade Center, killing 8 people, was one of its drivers. The hail riding service released a statement Tuesday night saying that 29-year-old Saypov passed a background check to become an Uber driver and had been actively driving on the platform for more than 6 months. Saypov has been banned from the Uber app. That's like saying, okay, we're going to close the barn door after all the horses and cows have escaped. Yeah, that does a whole lot of good. Really? What point is that? What is the point of blocking him from the app after he's already been arrested and they're most likely not going to let him out to go do it again? I understand the gesture, but it's pointless. It's completely pointless. Now, Uber says it's horrified by the senseless act of violence. A U.S. official with the investigation into what happened said Saypov is from Uzbekistan and came to the U.S. back in 2010. Atheist Ranger, your thoughts?
I think this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I know that he was an Uber driver, but to sit there and blame the company as if the company told him to do this, no. Okay, how about you blame the man that actually did this? You don't blame all Uber drivers. I mean, that's like if I went on a killing spree and then, everyone started associating this podcast with that. That's
right.
Just dumb.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're associating all Uber drivers with being, thugs or whatever. Because
I know, but the fact that, their profits are declining simply because of this action, I think is rather dumb.
On that point, I agree. They have had some issues. But overall, I think there's a lot of good people out there who are trying to earn a buck, and they are doing fine jobs. They're not out there murdering people. That could be in any job. That could literally be in any job. I mean, there's a reason why there's the saying of going postal. Does anybody remember the post office was having a lot of issues with people coming back after they've been bullied or whatever on the job and coming back and shooting their co-workers or their employers? But we don't stop the post office from doing what it needs to do because of some people in there. Every organization has probably had some kind of history of violence inside their ranks. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not going to stop using an app or Uber because of all this going on. I mean, these are just, it's just a select few people who have done some things. This guy passed a background check.
Yeah.
So they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, they had no idea that he was planning this. I mean, it's not like
they didn't.
The Uber app is not a mind reader app. My point is here, this is the part that's stupid. They've banned him from using the app ever again or becoming a driver with them ever again. The guy is in custody.
Yeah, he's never going to be released from prison.
No.
He's never going to be out in the public ever again. Exactly.
I mean, it's a nice gesture, but it's pointless. It's a pointless gesture. Let me ask Uber something. If they put him to death, do you think your ban is going to have any meaning to it? Is there any meaning to it at all?
No.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, as far as the background check goes, I mean, we do have to take into account like how extensive like was their background check.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these places, when they do background checks, they only go back, X amount of years. But, it also depends on how much they're willing to pay to do these background checks because they
Yeah.
have to, because they get charged for that stuff. So,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm in favor of universal background checks for everything. So
The job I had a background check on me too. I mean,
same with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
so the background check is not something that's, that unheard of. It's in most jobs, if not all jobs. I mean, the only job that you don't get a background check in is if you're walking down the street pushing a lawnmower and knock on people's doors and say, hey, can I mow your lawn? Well, wait a minute. I need to do a background check on you before you mow my lawn. I know you're only 12, but hey, you might rob and kill me. Or the lemonade stand. I don't know. Do you have a background check before I buy this lemonade?
Yeah. Did you poison the lemonade?
Did you poison the lemonade?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm a I'm a laundry attendant right now, and even I got a background check for that.
Yeah. You might.
I'm sure they do it in a hotel because you work in a hotel, right?
A resort, to be specific.
Oh, I'm
what?
sorry. What?
A resort.
A resort. Well,
Okay.
it's the same thing.
Well, resort hotel.
We had some comments from the chat room. Practical Magic 9. Hello, Practical Magic 9. She says, Uber must be vetting is a kids zoo in Brooklyn.
That's a good one, Connie.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And she was also commenting that just thinking that Packard postal was a worry for a time. So yeah, going postal was a worry for quite a while, actually. So
This must be before my time.
well, just look it up. If you heard the term going postal, it was a big thing. There was a lot of stabbing in the back, a lot of people getting picked on by their employers or whatever. They have a very hard job as it is. And I worked at a mail sorting place one time, a number of years ago. It was like a subcontractor for the postal service, and it's stressful. It can get stressful like that.
When it gets that stressful and you're at that point where you're ready to blow, the best thing to do is just walk away from it,
Yeah, but that's the thing is some people can't let that stuff go. Some people
Right.
it sits there and it just festers and boils until they like, you know what? I've had it. I'm not going to put up with this anymore, and I'm just gonna do away with my problem. And they build up this fantasy in their head. If I get rid of this person, people will be happy that this person who was a bully or whatever is gone. But that's only in your head. Anyway, we're kind of getting off track. But anyway, the fact is that Uber, I'm glad that you decided to block him. The chances of him getting back on the app is practically less than zero. Yes, less than zero. There's no ins and outs around it.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
There are these Christians out there, they're called dominionists. And basically what they want to do is they want to control everything, everybody. They want to have their religion on top of everybody. It doesn't matter what you believe, as long as they get to try to call the shots of what you get to do in your daily life, as long as it doesn't interfere with whatever they want to believe. As a matter of fact, there's a growing Christian movement in the United States that's looking to do just that. And they're not just looking to, take over a few little businesses or whatever and say, hey, I'm not making a cake for you because you're gay and you want to get married. They don't want to just do that. They want to get into upper levels of government. Several weeks ago, from October 6th to the 9th, the National Mall of Washington, D.C. was filled with tents of worship music and prayers from Awaken the Dawn rally. The purpose of the event is organized leaders Lou Engle was to gather around Jesus. Yeah, right. To pray for the nation and its government. It ended with a day of prayer by Christian women. Now, it wasn't the first such event. On April 9th, 2016 in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, tens of thousands of people gathered to pray for the supernatural transformation of America. I don't know. Well, is America going to grow a third arm somewhere? I mean, is that what you're praying for? Is like, we need more landmass. Let's put some over in California and stretch out to Hawaii. What do you think is going to happen with your prayers? Prayers have been proven to do absolutely nothing. It doesn't make any sense. 5 years earlier, in August of 2011, more than 30,000 people cheered wildly as then U.S. presidential candidate Rick Perry, now Secretary of Energy. That's a bad combination. They put him in charge of energy. Now Secretary of Energy strategy of the Trump administration came to the center stage at the response, a call to prayer for the nation in crisis. The nation was never in crisis. Yes, we've had issues. It's a country. Every country has issues. We have things that happen during the course of the day, like the guy that drove down the bicycle path. Yeah, that's not a crisis. It's a personal crisis for those people, obviously. But I mean, it's not a national crisis. A national crisis would be, I don't know, nuclear bombs dropping on major cities. I think that would be a national crisis. In these three events, the leaders who organized in the central players in the movement that they were called Independent Network Charismatics, or INC. Christianity, in our recent release book, The Rise of the Network of Christianity, these charismatic Christians emphasize supernatural miracles and divine interventions, whatever the hell those are. But the INC Christianity is different from other charismatics and other Christian denominations in general, and in the following ways. It is not focused primarily on building congregations, but rather on spreading beliefs and practices through media and ministry schools, through placing Christian believers in powerful positions in all sectors of society. It is organized network of independent leaders rather than as a formally organized denominations. So instead of like little churches here and there and maybe a few mega churches around, they want to put these people that want to control the government and whatnot in those places. That's their goal, to control, to run people's lives. Ranger, your thoughts?
You know, I get crap from a lot of other atheist YouTubers, not even that many actually, about how I don't cover Islam that often. And here's exactly why. Because if any religion is going to take over the U.S. government, which if you really think about it, sort of already has, it's Christianity. Okay, it's not Islam. And I've said this before, I find it often funny, these are the same people that, you know, complain about how, you know, these Middle Eastern countries are, how brutal they are. They want to do the exact same thing. They want to establish a theocracy. Whether they want to admit it or not, that's what they want to do. Again, when you go down the checklist of what fundamentalist Muslims believe and what fundamentalist Christians believe, they have a lot in common. It's scary.
Yes, it is. They have a lot in common. For example, the Muslims, they hate gay people. Christians, well, not all Christians, I'm not going to paint a broad brush on that, but a good portion of them, they hate gay people too. The Muslims think that their religion should be in charge. Christians think their religion should be in charge. They have this thing called the 7 Mountains of Influence, which is a little creepy, I gotta say. This is how they put their organization. Now, some of it sounds innocuous, but the way they've got it, if you look at it a little closely, you'll understand. Their first one is family. Okay, it sounds innocuous. Number 2, religion. 3, education. 4, business. 5, government. 6, media. 7, arts and entertainment. Can you imagine what this world would be like if only Christians would be able to say, yes, that piece of artwork is acceptable and yours is not? Art is very subjective. Why do these Christians think that they get to be in charge of these items? That's what I'm concerned about. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, if you think about it, it's already going on already because, you know, this whole thing about the First Amendment Defense Act, I mean, even though it hasn't been put into law or anything, but they want to do this. At some point, that's going to happen. But, I mean, as far as them running this country, oh, man. No.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, because if that were ever to happen, I think a lot of people would be leaving this country. I know I would.
Yeah, even though I couldn't afford it, I'd hitchhike if I had to.
I'd go to some exotic country somewhere and you know, live there. I mean, I wouldn't want to be here with what's going on.
Yeah, no, exactly. If they try to change this into a theocracy, I don't know what the first thing that they would do, but I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for just a minute, but I think that one of the first few people, besides, you know, anybody that doesn't believe what they believe of other faiths, I think that they try to establish one particular faith. I don't know which one it would be, but they would try to establish one particular
denomination.
Yeah, one denomination there,
and it would be shoved down our throats.
Yes, exactly. And
that would be the downfall of it, because it would be everywhere. Everywhere you turn, religion would be thrown into it. Yeah, regardless of what it is.
Could you imagine if people like us were speaking out against it on a podcast or just in our own circle or families?
It would be banned.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, now to get banned, we could. What if they'd probably said, you know, hey, if you're an atheist and you speak out against religion in any way, shape, or form, or you make them feel bad, you know, we'll arrest you. And if you think I've got my tinfoil on too tight, look at Taiwan. Remember that there's that guy, he got arrested for making videos about Islam and Christianity. and he got arrested for that. So if you think that I'm talking through my hat or something maybe a little lower and doesn't give all pleasant smells, then I'm telling you, happens in other parts of the world. And if this becomes a dominionist country, that could happen here.
Yes.
And just to follow up on that example, I mean, look at a lot of these Christian, quote unquote, Christian nations that are in Africa. Okay, they lock you up just for being an atheist or being gay.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the Muslim countries that do that. They not only just lock you up, in some cases they kill you outright.
Oh yeah, that's a sin. That's a death sentence there.
Yeah, or being an atheist out there is also a death sentence.
Right.
It's horrible to think about, but if they became a dominant force in this country, that could be a problem. It could be a major problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Just real quick, can you imagine every single movie sort of being like God's not dead?
Oh,
can you imagine that?
I don't even want to.
Oh, I would never go to the movies again.
Yeah, thank you for the nightmare fuel I'm going to have tonight. Thank you.
I would leave this country if that were to ever happen.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I only live like 2 hours away from the Canadian border.
I'm only a few hours away myself, but there's a lot of places that are along the border that are unprotected, so I could just slip right in.
Yep. Same here.
While we are poking at your news, you can poke us at Facebook and Twitter, or poke us with an email at ppapodcast@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 662-709-PPAP. Join us live on YouTube/Packard Pokesat on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Be part of the conversation by live chatting with us during the show. Enjoy the show? Help support us by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Packard Pokesat, or look awesome by buying something at cafepress.com/Packard Pokesat. No money, no problem. You can help us by sharing the show with friends and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
The Atheists,
the Bible,
and No Wardrobe, the podcast.
Wait a minute. No wardrobe? You mean we're going to be naked while we do this?
Well, seeing how I'm an atheist and I'm reading the Bible, and since clothes are flammable,
fire,
I thought it might be a good idea to take them all off first.
Naked or not, follow along as we read, analyze, and try to keep you from falling asleep as we go through this boring-ass book.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Who knows? We may even be on YouTube someday. And be sure to check out our secondary podcast, The Atheist, the Bible, and No Wardrobe. Still in the book of Exodus. They're taking a long time to walk in that area. I mean, it should have taken them a couple of weeks, or a few days anyway. But they're lost for 40 years? That's a serious problem. You got to have a guy that's in the front of your line that's saying, hey, I am not stopping to ask for directions, okay? I'm just not. Anyway.
It's the Onion Radio News.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese. I've never been to a Chuck E. Cheese. I've always wanted to try one. I've always wanted to see what their food is like. But by the time I moved to the city that had one, the Chuck E. Cheese moved out. So I don't know where these places exist. I mean, in my state, I could probably do a Google search and find out. But I imagine they're just like any pizza place that's out there. They're supposed to be good pizza. I don't know. Probably. It's probably not that great. But the Chuck E. Cheese is also known for one other thing: violence. This is a place for children, but there's often a lot of violence at these places. And so much so that some places actually hire security guards to be either inside or outside the Chuck E. Cheese. Make your own jokes there. I don't know why you would think they would need that. But I mean, the fact is that there's violence in these places makes me wonder what they put in the pizza. Anyway, a woman was apparently pepper spraying other patrons at a Chuck E. Cheese. There was some kind of argument that was going on down there. This was in Louisiana, and apparently this argument got way out of hand, and the woman just started spraying everybody inside the restaurant indiscriminately. It's like, oh, and you get some pepper spray, and you get some pepper spray, and did you want some for that pizza? Because I think it's a little bland. We'll put some pepper spray on your pizza and maybe make it a little spicier. How's that sound? Atheist Ranger, your thoughts?
All I can say is that I think that Chucky down there has some games. Sounds
Yeah.
to me like one of Chucky's ex-mouse lovers has finally snapped. Chucky be a pimp, ladies and gentlemen. But no, seriously though, my ex-fiance, we used to take her son there like for his birthday all the time, and for his friends' birthdays, and like even the kids were violent. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, as you said, I don't know what they're putting in the pizza or putting in the
It's
punch.
heroin. That's what it is. It's heroin. They're putting heroin in the cheese.
Or either that or they're putting some Smirnoff in it or something.
They're putting something in to make those kids all violent. It's like the lady that was arrested, her name is Katrina Marshall, and charged her with disturbing the peace by fighting, and she's only 24 years old. She's barely out of the Chuck E. Cheese herself. She's barely out of the ball pit that's there. Matt, your thoughts?
There is a Chuck E. Cheese like literally 3 blocks away from me, and it's the same thing. Police are called. They have security there. Some shootings that have actually happened there. It is ridiculous. And rumor has it the place is supposed to be closing down anyway, so that'll be good.
I've never understood why people go to the Chuck E. Cheese to fight.
Well, it's the clientele that's there.
I see. Well, it's maybe this is like Fight Club, but it's Chuck E. Cheese. The first rule of Chuck E. Cheese is you don't talk about Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know what.
Apparently, I don't know. But anyways, it's been happening at all the Chuck E. Cheeses. The people who go there, majority of minorities, and fights usually break out or shootings.
Mhm.
And it's sad because it's supposed to be a nice place for kids to hang out and have fun, and they have to worry about stuff like this.
And the weird thing is, at least in my experience, is like usually the parents that get into the fights, not even the kids.
Right.
Yeah,
It's the parents that are doing it.
Yeah. I know putting a birthday party together is stressful. I know this for a fact. I have 2 children. I've had to go through this for 18 some odd years. Twice. But I mean, you don't need to get that stressed out to where you're going to take out your pepper spray at Chuck E. Cheese. We got another comment from the chat room, again from Practical Magic 9. Thank you for your comment. She says, she ever heard of extra pepperoni? Just saying, Just put some extra pepperoni on your pizza. You don't need the pepper spray. I'm just saying. It works, but I mean.
It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, shut that crap down.
Yeah.
Lenny says that I'm, get this. A little slow. How come you're not laughing? Do you think I'm slow? Bah. Oh, who am I kidding? I am slow.
If you're going to go to pay a fine, the last thing you want to do is rack up more charges on your way to pay the fine, because that would make absolutely no sense, and you just end up back in court again. A man on his way to court to pay a fine on assault charges apparently didn't get the memo, and he must be a little slow. Now, in Leechburg, Pennsylvania, police say a man who was at a Pennsylvania judge's office to pay court fines stole a wallet that was near the payment window and used the cash inside to pay his fees. Oh, hey, I need to pay some fees, and there's a wallet here. Nobody's around. I'm just going to go and take the money out of there. You know what? Does this guy not realize that they have cameras? Cameras in the courthouse. They've had enough incidences in the courthouses around the country where they've put cameras in place. So, hey, if somebody does a thing, they're going to catch you, or at least, hopefully catch you. In the Allegheny Township patrolman Kerry Myers tells the Tribune Review surveillance cameras caught the actions of Stephen Rago. Rago was out on bail on simple assault charges and was at the district court judge's office on Thursday to pay the fees. The video shows the 31-year-old putting a wallet into his sweatshirt pocket. He's later seen paying the fine with cash. Police say he admitted to having the wallet and returned it, but he paid back the money. He's like, okay, yeah, I know I took the money, but I'll pay the guy back. But you know what? His bail was rescinded because of the theft charge. I think if instead of stealing the wallet, if he had turned it in, that judge would have said, you know what? We saw you on surveillance turning a wallet in. You did a good thing. You know what? Maybe you're not such an idiot after all, and maybe we'll reduce your fine a little bit. No, you get your bail rescinded and you go back to jail because you did something even more stupid. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. The stupidity of people. They think they can get away with stuff. I mean, cameras exist. Stranger, your thoughts?
Yeah, this should be on I think True TV's Dumbest Criminals.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you're gonna commit a crime on top of another crime, you probably shouldn't do it inside a freaking courthouse.
Especially especially if you're going to go pay for the to bail yourself out so you can get out, and don't do a robbery right there. He found the wallet, but I mean, doesn't mean it's yours,
Hey, I've said this once on this podcast, and I'll say it again. Bring on the nukes.
I think Trump might be listening to this podcast because he keeps messing with that other country that has the nukes too. So
who knows?
Just so bizarre, people today. I don't understand their motivations anymore. Does not anybody have a decent bone in their body anymore nowadays? I'm just wondering. I know there's a few out there. But damn, come on now, people. Matt, your thoughts?
Well, you have these people who are career criminals and they don't care. They'll do anything to get anything. They don't stop and think about stuff like this. They just go ahead and do it. And it's unfortunate.
It is. It really is unfortunate.
I mean, the criminal system, it's a revolving door for them.
Yeah.
They commit one crime, they're in jail. They get out, they do another crime, go back. It's sad.
It is.
It's really sad.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's incredibly sad. It's incredibly sad. I mean, some of those places, they do have a revolving door. But I think in some of those cases, it's the people who are doing it,
Can't believe it. Don't believe it.
And tonight we have an unbelievable deity. It's Mokosh. Now, it's a Slavic fertility goddess, also known as Mokos, Mokisha, and Makash. Now, she's a rather wet goddess of fate and femininity. Now, Mokosh is a popular deity of womanhood. Who, to a modern eye, she sounds like the spirit of sexism, as she is rather old-fashioned approach to female interests. She is largely concerned with knitting, wool spinning, crocheting, weaving, laundry, and washing. This must be the patron saint of Republicans. I'm just saying. Back in the kitchen, woman. Make a sandwich. But she's not just a goddess of housework. There's a lot more to her than that. She appears to have started off as the ancient Earth Mother goddess, Metaisea Zelmiazea. I nailed it. I know I nailed it. Who gradually became rather more domesticated. Her interest turned from raw fertility to housekeeping with a little divination thrown in. As a deity of chance and predestination, her weaving abilities come in very handy for spinning the threads of life. That's what we call the twist of fate. So that's where that comes from. Now, some of the wandering, she makes house calls during Lent, disguised as an old woman. Your Winter Woolies production had better keep Betty up to scratch. She knows that all the secrets of knitting and picking up dropped stitches. She also helps the hard-pressed with sheep shearing. Well, I suppose there's sheep shearers still out there today, I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, very useful for knit farming families. In case you're wondering, we call her Wet because her name means moist. A possible link to her old moist Mother Earth fertility days. Devotees finally imagine that rain is her milk. This is going to get almost dirty. During drought, people would pray for her relief. If you wish to try this, remember that she is represented by pebbles shaped like breasts. Simply collect a handful of boob-shaped pebbles and rub them gently while thinking of milk. Now, to sum up, Mokosh is a splendid addition to any home, and her favorite day is Friday. Well, perfect. That's today. Knit her something nice for the weekend. Crochet a goddess today.
Oh, man.
Now, this deity is mostly around in the Czech Republic, Poland, and Russia. That's Mokosh.
Two things. Number one, this sounds like the patron saint of porn stars.
Yeah, how about it?
And number two, if she's a fertility goddess, keep her away from me. I don't want kids. Not now, not ever.
If you see anybody that walks around with birds in their hands and looks like this, then you need to run from them because they might be the fertility goddess.
Wait, are you sure that's not Melania Trump?
Oh.
Matt, your thoughts?
Weird, and weird.
Yeah.
Need I say any more?
Yeah. Well, a lot of these deities are kind of weird, but
Yeah. Well, when they were talking about being moist and all that, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that just kind of turned me off right there. Like, okay.
Yeah. The only time I want to hear the word moist is describing chocolate cake. That's the only time I want to hear it.
I won't even go into when I like to hear it. So anyway, that's That's Mokosh, another deity I find completely unbelievable. All right, well, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody that comes to the show, and we'll be back on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time, and we'll see you then. And if you'd like to make a donation to the show, go to paypal.me/PackardPokesAt, and you can make a $1 donation or whatever you feel necessary, one-time donation or money-time donation. It's up to you. Or you go to patreon.com/PackardPokesAt, and you can make as little as $1 per episode donation to the show if you'd like to, and that would greatly help as well. This has been Packard Pokesat. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.